So I know what you guys are thinking. Slim, where have you been? Well, for those of you that are wondering, I actually turned 29 this past weekend and celebrated my birthday the whole weekend. And, thank you to everyone who wished me a happy birthday. I really do appreciate it. But yeah, I'm back and I'm bringing you guys something you probably didn't expect. A deck profile that isn't Thunder Dragons and also isn't Mech Knight Invoked. I'm actually profiling Gren Maju, and for those of you that don't know, and I think that's a majority of you, I actually really like this deck. I want to give a shout out to Yishan McNabb. I talked to him for a while. He's actually from the Bay Area as well, and he was the one who almost won YCS Portland with the deck, and I've talked to him about the deck, and like him, I've been watching the progression this deck has had since he basically brought the whole concept to the meta and almost, swept the entire YCS with it, and we've seen its iterations. We've seen his Golden Castle build, we've seen the danger heavy build, and we've seen people just trying to experiment with things with the deck, and it was something that I wanted to get in on. It was something that I wanted to try, and I'm gonna be honest, you guys, this deck is so much fun. Like, this deck is so much fun, and I say that because you're playing a card that existed eons ago, and you're basically just one-punching your opponent. Like, that's so crazy. Not only that, you have a crazy toolbox you can use of, rank 8s, XYZs, super poly targets, all this stuff. And the deck, in theory, just blinding second, can just break every board. It can just, OTK the opponent out of nowhere, and I really like that about this deck. I like this deck a lot. While I do say I don't think the deck is that great going first, I think that it does have a lot of strengths that, that do outweigh the weaknesses. So hopefully you guys will enjoy. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing. And yeah, Gren Maju, you guys, it's a deck that you guys probably didn't see coming here on this channel, but it's something that I did want to bring to you guys. Hopefully you guys do enjoy. I'm going to let you guys know this is the Danger Heavy build first. If you guys do want to see the Golden Castle build, I actually do have the Golden Castle build as well. If you guys want to see that, communicate that to me. Give this video 100 plus likes, and we'll definitely bring that to the forefront. But yeah, so we'll get into it. So of course, the boss monster of the deck is Gren Maju Days. This card existed in Invasion of Chaos a billion years ago in Yu-Gi-Oh! And this card only ever really saw play when Yishan brought it to YCS San Diego a couple years ago. Potted Desires, Necrophase, Gold Sark, all these things to just banish cards, and it makes it so that your Gren Maju just gets big. It gains 400 for every one of your banished cards. Desires makes this 4,000. Gizmek makes this thing 3,200. You combine them both, it's like 7,200 or whatever it is. And this thing just gets huge, and you just one punch your opponent with all the cards you banish. So this card is insane. It is not the win condition of the deck though. It's an alternate win condition. A lot of people aren't familiar with this, but Gren Maju is basically there as the finishing touch. Sometimes you can cheese a lot of wins out of it. I will admit I've gotten this thing up to 1 billion attack in just one punch per game, but the other cards in the deck will really make the deck flow, and I really like it. But it's cool to have an alternate win condition in Gren Maju. Probably my favorite card in the deck because, yeah, you guys know how much I love Fairy Tale Snow. Well, Gizmek Orochi is the new age Snow. It's the 2019 Snow, and this card is just so insane. The fact that, you just banish 8, you can summon it, it prevents you from dying, it makes the Boral Sword OTK so easily. The ability to, also use this other effect by banishing cards from your extra deck to pop a card is also cool. That doesn't come up as much, but I think this card is just so good. I feel this is a card that people should have invested in a while ago. I don't know how expensive the card is right now because we're not a market watch channel, but I think this card is just great. It's also a rank 8, so it does so many, or level 8, so it does so many things for the deck, and this in tandem with Gren Maju is just insane. Like, this card prevents you from dying, it does so many things. There's a reason why Orcus plays it, so yeah, this card is nuts. I really like this card, and like I said, new age Snow. And then I am playing only one hand trap, and it is 3 Phantasme. I know, every single list, and you guys see Phantasme, you guys get sad. I know, I've said it every time, you should have invested in this card. The thing about this card is that it's good in like every format. Yes, there are matches it's going to be absolute ass against, and I will admit that. There are times that it just doesn't do anything, but against the majority of the meta, against Orcus, against Thunder, against Sky Striker, against all the decks, this card is just good. This card can protect your monsters as well, and this card is just a body on board, and the more bodies we get on board with this deck, the faster we OTK our opponent. So this card is just great. I really love Phantasme. You guys should know this by now. And then again, this is the Danger Heavy build, so we're playing some of my favorite cards in the game, the Danger. So we're playing all the level 8s. We're playing 3 Bigfoot, 3 Thunderbird, and the 3 Ogopogo. So in addition to Yishan, I also watched the YCS winner from Portland, His deck was amazing. I loved it. I love the fact that he incorporated all these dangers. Not only are they huge, not only are they upstart goblins, but they do crazy things too. Like sometimes you can just pop a face-up card, you can be an MST, you can, you know, send danger response team. It does so many things. It also has a 3000 ass. For those of you that don't know, like this card is sometimes really hard to get around. And this facilitates your rank 8s along with Gizmek Orochi. So this is what I really like about this danger engine. And there's more dangers, but what I really love is that he played all the rank 8s. You're just trying to just, you know, go through your deck as fast as possible, you know, break your opponent's board and just OTK them, and you know these cards really help with that, and being level 8 they're extremely important. And then the rest of the dangers, we play the good ones. So we play the 2 Nessie, the 2 Jackalope, and the 2 Snake. So you play all of them. They're all good. The only one I have considered just cutting is Tsuchinoko, and the reason is I've watched a couple of their deck profiles and I can understand the reasoning. I think some people have tried like not even playing this card, and the reason is, yes, it's a free summon, but outside of that it doesn't really do much. You're not playing a rank 3 toolbox, you're not doing anything like that. Yes, it can help you link climb, but I feel like in the majority of the time you want to be, you know, specialing one from the deck or searching one you need. That this card really doesn't do anything. Like, I can understand the reasoning behind cutting it. This deck is 42 cards, so if I were to try to make it a clean 40, it would probably be the 2 cards I would cut, but it's still in there because it is a free body, and I feel like it can still help in other grind games. But I do understand some players' reasoning for cutting Tsuchinoko, but it's still pretty good. And then he played the 2 copies of Chupacabra. So the really cool thing about Chupacabra is its one downside is you really don't want to hit it early in your, you know, your danger reveals, because, you know, if you don't have another danger in the grave, it doesn't do anything. However, the fact that it is a monster reborn is insane. Like, being able to reborn these level 8s is nuts. It can make game like out of nowhere, and I think that's the reason why this card is so cool. Like I said, its only downside is really getting sniped in the early game and just not have anything for it. But I mean, you run the risk. You know, the dangers can be a risk. You know, sometimes it gets sniped and you just lose out. But I mean, I think again, with like there are like other cards in this deck, the pros definitely outweigh the cons. So that is the full danger lineup. I'm pretty sure it's identical to the one from Portland. I didn't want to play Mothman, and the only reason I'm not playing Mothman is because I don't want my opponent to draw cards. Like, that's really what it is. I want my opponent to draw cards and draw outs, and I'm not playing Dogman because you guys know that card is dog shit, so we're not playing that card. And also, since there's no good rank 7s, we're not playing that card. But yeah, that's it for all the monsters. For the spells, Triple Desires, one of the few decks where this card is just the tits. Like, this card is insane. Just being able to, you know, get your plus, and even if it baits an Ash, like your Gren Maju goes to 4,000, I mean, okay, that's pretty dope. So I really like the fact that you can just play Desire so freely in this deck. And along with to turbo out our deck, we play 3 trade-ins. So I've seen lists go back and forth playing 2 copies, 3 copies. I really like 3 copies. I like trade-in. The fact that you can discard Gizmek Orochi and basically it's just free. It's literally the freest pot of greed ever because Gizmek is in the grave where it wants to be, so that's insane. The fact that you can just, you know, trigger the dangers with it is also nuts. I played this card before. You guys remember when I played the World FTK deck? Like, this card was just nuts. Like, this card was so good at that regional, and it's just so good in general, I think, with the dangers, because you play so many rank 8s, you'd rather turbo through your deck into your win con, and, you know, your win con is just breaking the board, so drawing more cards, getting more monsters on the board is insane. So I'm actually a huge fan of trade-in this deck. I'm not playing Allure. I did test with Allure. The problem is I really don't want to be banishing any of the monsters in my hand. I know that it'll help me turbo through the deck, but through a lot of testing I realized that it was just incorrect to play that card in this particular deck, because you want your monsters to hit the board to make game, so pretty much makes sense, or in the graveyard to reborn or something. But yeah, rest of the spells. So this card should not be at 3. This card is insane. Triple Super Poly. So I don't know why this card ever came to 3, but this is the reason to play the deck, you guys. Like, this card just breaks every board. Comboing it with dangers is insane. Like, you super poly discard a danger, like, I mean, you just win. Like, you pretty much just win right there. Being able to make a Starving Venom or a Solomon Great Guy or whatever you need to just break the opponent's board is so ridiculous. This card just makes games so easily. You get a bunch of monsters on the board, super poly the damage stuff. Like, you just do so many crazy things with this. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't know why this card is at 3, but this card breaks every board in the game, and yeah, it's amazing. You can't respond to it, so that's ridiculous. That is literally a god card. And then something that I saw a couple lists do is, instead of playing Hey True Knight, I'm playing 3 copies of Cosmic Cyclone. So the reason is, Hey True Knight is a cool card in theory. I tested it a little bit. I wasn't a huge fan. It was something I saw people put in the side deck more. But I remember when YCS Portland had concluded that he had main deck 3 of them, so it was interesting. But I really like Cosmic Cyclone because the 1-for-1 trade is really good again, of course, against Crescendo, really good to banish the Babel forever, really good to banish the multi-roll. Being able to banish anything for the rest of the game is insane. I think that this card is just really good. We've seen its play definitely go up over the last couple events, so I think this card is just really cool. I'm not playing Twin Twister in the main. I think that's a better side deck card, even though it would be good in theory. theory to use with dangers. The problem is I'd rather just go on a 1-for-1 trade to bait out the negate, and if I'm not baiting out negates, being able to banish something so it doesn't come back at all is insane. So so far 3 Cosmic Cyclone has been really good. If you guys prefer Hate True Nade, you guys can play that. For me though, so far in testing, this was the best form of spell and trap removal, because it really does get rid of the problem for the rest of the game, which I like a lot. And then last couple spells, so 2 Danger Response Team. This is a card that you don't see in a lot of like regular like danger decks. Like in the Gren Maju deck, the castle deck, you wouldn't see this card or the other dangers, but in this deck you do see it. For those of you who don't know, if it's in the graveyard, you can banish it, and then you discard a danger, and what is it? You discard a danger, place this card on the bottom of the deck, and draw a card, so that's pretty cool. Also, you can use this card to bounce a danger, you know, back to your hand, and that's pretty good. So I like this card. It's something that you can side out pretty much every game though. Like you can keep 1 copy in if you want. It's usually one of the first cards I side out, because yes, it is really good in theory, but you do need dangers to go along with it. So outside of that, I think you know, having it for game 1 is fine, but it's definitely a card that you can side out, and I would even think possibly going down to 1, but it gives at least Ogopogo something to send besides another danger, because that really doesn't accomplish anything unless you're like comboing it with Reborn or Chupacabra or something, but those situations are so niche it doesn't really come up that much. But I do like the response team in general. I think it's a really good card, and I think the more you test with it, the more you'll see like it does have a lot of perks to it, playing it in the deck. And then the last 2 cards, the last 2 power spells are Reborn and Card Destruction. There's no reason not to play these. Reborn is ridiculous, and Card Destruction is game. Like if you resolve Card Destruction, it doesn't get Ash, and you discard a bunch of dangers, the game is over. Like not only that, you get knowledge of what your opponent plays, and yes, your opponent will draw cards, but if you're resolving a bunch of dangers, like they're going to be so far behind, you should win the game right then and there. So yeah, you guys know I love this card in Dark World, so what more can I say? That card is game. But yeah, that is the main deck. It's 42 cards. On to the extra deck. So the extra deck, I'll talk about a couple changes I would make. There's a certain card I don't have in my possession yet that I will definitely add to this deck. We'll talk about it more. I just wanted to bring the profile to you guys, but yeah. So what I really like about this deck is you can play rank 8s, and honestly my favorite rank 8 is actually Dingirsu. Yeah, I don't play Orcus, but Dingirsu is nuts. Being able to make this as a generic rank 8, for those of you that don't know, just being able to send a card is ridiculous. Being able to protect cards is ridiculous, and yeah, this card, you summon this card so much, it'll like, it shocked me how much I summon this card in this deck. Like this is probably my most summoned rank 8, and yeah, this card is absolutely insane. So yeah, definitely one of the best rank 8s, Dingirsu. I also play number 38. Sometimes you get into a grind game and this is just a good card to make. Sometimes it's a safe play going first. Just being able to negate a spell that, you know, is just too strong, or something that could, you know, just really kind of get in your way. So yeah, I really like Titanic Galaxy as well. It's just a generic rank 8. Sanafon is ridiculous. You play this against Salad and Orcus, you basically win. They can't get around this card. Like, this card is so ridiculous. Like, I love this card. This is like the card I summon next to Dingirsu. This is the card I summon the most if I know I'm playing against Salad or Orcus, because after you clear their board, you make this. There's no coming back, so it's pretty nice. And then I am playing number 22 Zombie Stein, but I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'd rather play number 23 Lancelot. That card is actually so much better. Yeah, so definitely, I do summon this. I think I've summoned it in testing maybe twice, but this card is cool. Like, I think this card is a little bit better in the Golden Castle deck, and the reason is because if you have the Golden Castle and you have this, even though this does go to graveyard, does go to defense when you negate, and even though it doesn't have a lot of defense, it has like 1,000, the castle protects it, so then you can have it again for next turn. So I think this card is better in the castle build, but yeah, definitely play number 23 Lancelot. That card is insane. It attacks directly, has a mandatory negate, and it destroys a card. Like, I think the card is so insane. I know the guy that topped London played it, so yeah, it's definitely a card you guys should play. And then the last of this stuff, we got the generic rank. So we got Wee Witch, 2 Darks. I mean, it's not good against Orcus because it gives their monsters a boost, but it gives your Darks a boost, and your monsters are usually bigger, so it's pretty nice. You also want the downward arrows. It just helps, so there's nothing wrong with that. I love this card in the world deck because it just always guarantees OTK, so I kind of use the same theory in that. And then I play the Nightmares. I play Cerebus, Phoenix, and Unicorn. I play all of them. I don't think there's any reason not to play them. They're just good. You get so many monsters on the board. You can just, you know, clear problematic monsters. You can, you can draw cards sometimes depending on how you, center out your links. And then it's just really good. This is good against Thunder too, being able to kick away a Colossus, but you really don't have a problem against that deck because you just super poly them, or just, Dingirsu Sand. Like, there's so many things you can do. So Dingirsu this, just clear the Thunder board. It's nice. But yeah, just some generic ranks. Generic links. And then yeah, I put this card in every deck. I'm sorry, I love this card. This card is so easy to make in this deck because of all the high level monsters you have. Strikers, Solomon Grade, all the decks that target have a really hard time getting around this, and this card can just be game. You can banish a card or attack twice, 4,500. You guys know this card is dumb. I love this card. And then mainly, I wouldn't say this is like your other, this could be your other win condition. It's weird. I thought that I would definitely make this a lot more, but in testing, it didn't come up as much as I thought, but it's definitely there for the, just the guaranteed OTK. This in Gizmek is game every time, so it's pretty nice. It does come up. 4 monsters is pretty easy to make, so it's pretty strong. People talk to me about playing Appaloosa, and it's something I might actually consider testing, because if you do break the board, if for some reason you don't OTK, then you make an Appaloosa afterwards, you win the game anyway, because they can't play through it. But yeah, Boral Sword, I mean, it has that OTK factor, so I definitely had to play it in there. I feel it'd be incorrect to not play it. And then lastly is just the super poly targets. So 2 Starving Venom. The reason you play 2 is it was mentioned before at the Portland profile and other profiles of this deck that you just make it comes up a lot. 1 super poly breaks the board. If you up in 2 super polys, you can super poly itself again and just attack for game. And it's also a level 8, so it facilitates the rank 8 strategy. So that's really important. And then the 1 Predaplant guy, because that breaks apart the Thunder board and the Pendulum board. And then I am playing the Mud Dragon. So the Mud Dragon, you guys are thinking this card like never comes up. It randomly comes up against Subterra and random decks. Like, you're better off having it. That's all I'm going to say. You're better off having it, because you're going to get in those awful matches where you think nothing works with Super Poly, and then you read this card and you're like, oh, the situation works, and you just break the board and win the game because of it. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. And lastly, of course, the Solomon Great guy, because I mean, against Salad, you just try to OTK them with this, so it's pretty nuts. But yeah, that is the deck, you guys. Again, something I think you guys didn't expect. It's just a really fun deck. It really is. Like, it's a really interesting way to play the game. One-punching your opponent with Gren Maju, just summoning all the dangers. Just making Boral Sword, attacking for game, making all these rank 8s, and just your opponent just falls behind so quickly when you play a deck like this, and that's what I really like. But yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy the deck profile. If you did, be sure to smash that like button. Again, if you guys want to see the Golden Castle build, let's hit this video with 100+ likes, and I'll definitely bring that deck profile to you guys soon. But yeah, all the Gren Maju players, you guys are amazing. You guys all definitely inspired me to try out this deck. And yeah, if you guys are trying to build this deck, any of the cards you guys need, consider using my TCG player link. It's down in the description below. A portion of it goes back to the channel. It helps me out, and I really do appreciate it. But yeah, Danger Gren Maju Castle, whatever you call it, something with Gren Maju, it's crazy. Like, it's just so crazy that a deck like this, came to the forefront of Yu-Gi-Oh! And has really just become a deck that I actually really like, in addition to all the other decks I like. But yeah, Gizmek and Gren Maju are just insane. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, let me know any changes you would make, any suggestions you guys would make. Again, definitely play number 23. That card is insane. And next time I profile it, hopefully I have it for you guys. But yeah, this card is nice. And I think the deck just overall is really awesome. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Shout out to Richard. You already know that's dad. Everyone's dad. And yeah, let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.